I walk into the family dinner carrying the tray, and the smell of my auntie's cooking hits me so hard it almost knocks the breath out of my chest. Warm spices, slow-simmered sauces, the kind of food that raised me when money was tight and love came from the kitchen. For a second, I'm back in her small house, standing on a chair, watching her cook with patience and pride. Then the room reminds me where I am. Cousins lean toward each other. Neighbors glance at the tray and smirk. I hear whispers slicing through the air, low and amused, like I've just brought in a joke instead of food she spent hours perfecting. A sharp laugh cuts through everything. "Who even taught her to cook?" someone says, loud enough to be heard. This is amateur hour. My stomach tightens instantly. It feels like the walls inch closer, like all the oxygen in the room has been sucked out and replaced with laughter. The sound echoes, too loud, too cruel, bouncing around my head. I look up and catch my auntie's eyes. She's standing near the counter, hands folded in front of her apron, forcing a small smile that doesn't reach her eyes. There's quiet hurt there. Not anger, not surprise. Just the kind of pain that comes from being used to this. Another voice chimes in, dragging the knife deeper. Someone points at the tray and scoffs, mocking the way the food is arranged. "What is this presentation?" they say. "Still using those ancient recipes?" Ancient. Like her effort belongs in the past. Like she does. Heat rushes to my face. Anger and shame twist together in my chest until I can barely breathe. My hands curl into fists under the table, nails digging into my palms as if pain might keep me grounded. I try to speak. I really do. "She's been cooking like this for years," I say, my voice shaking despite everything in me screaming to be louder. "You don't even know how much work." But my words don't stand a chance. Laughter rolls right over them, louder now, layered with sarcasm and dismissive chuckles. It's like trying to stop a storm with bare hands. I watch my auntie turn away. She doesn't argue. She doesn't defend herself. She quietly picks up her apron and walks back into the kitchen. The door swings shut behind her, soft but final, and the laughter keeps going as if nothing important just left the room. Something inside me snaps. This isn't playful teasing. This isn't family banter. This is humiliation. Slow, deliberate, and public. The kind that presses down on your chest and teaches you to stay silent. The air feels thick with condescension. Every fork lifted, every bite taken feels like a spotlight aimed straight at her, turning her food into evidence of some imaginary failure. I can barely swallow. Every sound grates on my nerves. I push my chair back and leave the table, forcing my face into a neutral mask. I nod when someone looks at me, pretending I'm fine, pretending this doesn't matter. But inside, my thoughts are racing, crashing into each other. Guilt for not protecting her better. Rage at every person still laughing. Shame that this happened at all. That night, I don't sleep. I lie in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying everything on an endless loop. Every laugh, every comment, every cruel glance that landed on her like a slap. My chest aches with the weight of it, and the silence of the house feels louder than the dinner ever was. I make a promise in the dark. This humiliation will not define her, and it will not define me. I grab my phone and start scrolling, mindlessly at first. Videos, posts, comments. I see families joking about their elders, mocking their habits, turning their effort into content for cheap laughs. And then it hits me. Clear, sharp, undeniable. An idea sparks. A plan begins to form. And for the first time since that dinner, my anger feels focused, controlled, dangerous in the quietest way. I remember the cramped little kitchen where I grew up. Sunlight slanting through the grimy window, dust motes dancing in the beams. Auntie Martha stood there, flour dusting her cheeks, humming softly as she kneaded dough. Every motion was deliberate, every fold precise. I watched her as a child, mesmerized, trying to copy her movements, failing but learning the rhythm of her patience. She taught me more than cooking, how to fold dough perfectly so it held its shape, how to balance spices so they spoke without screaming, how to listen to the food, to sense its mood and temper like it was alive and deserving of respect. Every lesson was a whisper of wisdom, a gift I didn't understand the full value of until much later. But no one else seemed to see it. Family members would glance at her dishes, nod politely, and dismiss it with a casual, "It's fine for her age." It stung in ways that words can barely describe. Her talent, her labor, her heart was invisible to those who should have celebrated it the most. I can still see the hurt in her eyes, the tiny flicker of disappointment whenever dinner parties ended in polite nods instead of applause. Once, after one particularly dismissive gathering, I found her in the corner of the kitchen, silently wiping tears off her cheeks as she stacked empty plates. She muttered almost to herself, "They'll never see me." Her voice cracked, fragile but filled with a lifetime of quiet endurance. Her treasures weren't flashy. They were hidden in the worn pages of her grandmother's notebook. Handwritten recipes stained with time and devotion, secrets passed down through generations. No one bothered to ask for them. No one cared to understand their worth. Cousins would take her dishes, claiming them as their own at school events, work lunches, anywhere attention could be stolen. Every subtle betrayal added another layer of invisible scars. And yet she never gave up. She cooked with quiet dignity, with patience that transformed ordinary ingredients into something extraordinary. Watching her, I absorbed that patience too, a shield forming around my own heart, a protective rage I didn't fully understand until tonight. The weight of all her unrecognized talent presses on me now. Every laugh at the dinner table, every smirk, every whispered insult. It's not just tonight. It's decades of dismissal, subtle erasure, casual ignorance, all converging into this moment of raw, soul-deep anger. And that anger ignites a fire. A vow forms in the pit of my stomach. I will show the world her worth, not just to silence the mockery tonight, but to honor every quiet tear, every stolen acknowledgement, every overlooked masterpiece she ever created. I begin to strategize, mapping a meticulous plan in my mind. Researching local food critics, tracing online platforms, noting upcoming competitions where her brilliance could shine without restriction. I consider every angle, every avenue that could elevate her talent from obscurity to undeniable recognition. Every memory of her resilience cements my resolve. Tonight's humiliation will not be the last word. It will be the spark, the catalyst. Her patience, her grace, her uncelebrated genius, they will not be buried. They will explode into the world, transforming humiliation into vindication, erasure into celebration. I start documenting her cooking without telling anyone. My phone stays low, angled just right, capturing the way her hands move with absolute certainty. The slow knead of dough, the measured pause before adding spice, the quiet focus in her eyes. I film like I'm preserving evidence because that's what this feels like. Proof that what they mocked is real. The family starts to notice the change in me. I'm sharper, quieter, watching everything. Some of them roll their eyes when they catch me hovering near the kitchen. Others ask questions with fake curiosity, the kind that already assumes the answer doesn't matter. I don't explain anything. I take her recipes and send them out anonymously to small food bloggers. No names, no backstory. Just the food. Just the work. I tell myself I'm only testing the waters, but my heart pounds every time I hit send. At first, nothing happens. A few posts go up, barely any likes, a handful of views. My chest tightens with disappointment, but then I start reading the comments more closely. Not the numbers, the words. Interesting flavor profile. This looks comforting. Whoever made this knows what they're doing. They're quiet compliments, almost whispers, but they're real. At the next family gathering, someone leans back in their chair and smirks at me. "So," they say, loud enough for the table to hear, "still trying to prove she can cook?" I smile tightly and bite my tongue so hard it almost bleeds. I know better now. Storms don't announce themselves. They gather. I reach higher. I message a well-known culinary Instagram account and send professionally edited photos of her signature dishes. The steam rising, the texture, the depth of color. I wait. Rejection emails flood in. Not the polite kind either. Short, cold, dismissive. I read everyone, jaw clenched, and then I send the next message anyway. And the next. I refuse to let small failures decide her worth. That's when I notice her changing. Auntie Martha starts lingering in the kitchen a little longer. Her shoulders aren't as slumped. There's a flicker of hope in her eyes when she cooks now. A small smile that didn't exist before, like she can feel something shifting even if she doesn't know why. I arrange a private tasting with a local chef, keeping everything carefully vague. No names, no history. Just a home cook with something special. I build anticipation the way you handle something fragile. Slowly, deliberately. Meanwhile, the family keeps mocking her in small, poisonous ways. Little comments, side glances, jokes that trail off into laughter. They have no idea that every cruel word is fueling my strategy, sharpening my focus. I start cross-referencing everything. Chefs and their followings, social media reach, viral food trends, timing, exposure. I'm no longer guessing. I'm calculating. The tension at home thickens. My secrecy starts colliding with daily life. Questions get sharper. Looks get longer. They want to know what I'm hiding, and I dodge every one of them. Their mockery shifts into suspicion. I can feel time pressing against me. The internet moves fast. Attention fades. If I wait too long, her talent will sink back into silence where they expect it to stay. I sit down one night and make a list. Specific moments. Visual hooks, emotional beats, exact ways to capture the chef's attention when the reveal finally happens. Because when it does, I want there to be no room for doubt. Not for them, not for anyone. The phone rings and my chest tightens before I even answer. On the other end, a calm, measured voice speaks. I received a unique recipe submission and I'd like to see more. It's Chef Daniel Harper. Famous, respected. His tone is careful, curious, almost reverent. Not a hint of doubt. My heart pounds so hard I can feel it in my throat. I start planning immediately. Every detail must be perfect. The timing, the lighting, the dishes. Every move Auntie Martha makes needs to highlight her brilliance without distraction. I map the room in my mind, noting where she should stand, how the flavors should be presented, how the scent should hit first. Every variable accounted for. On the day, Auntie Martha arrives in the kitchen, hands shaking slightly, doubting herself despite decades of mastery. I watch her, knowing she feels the weight of her own history, the dismissals, the mockery, the overlooked genius. I reach over and squeeze her hand, a quiet reassurance. No words, just a connection. You are extraordinary. Chef Harper sits at the table. I hand him the first dish. He takes a bite, and the world shifts. His eyes widen, pupils dilated, mouth slightly agape. For a heartbeat, the room stops. Every laugh, every sneer, every moment of ridicule fades into irrelevance. He scribbles notes fervently, leaning forward. The balance, he murmurs almost to himself. The depth, this is incredible. His voice carries awe I've never heard in our kitchen before. Every gesture, every word, validates decades of hidden mastery. From the hallway, I see the family peering in. They have no idea what they're witnessing. The casual smirks, the side whispers, the subtle mockery. All powerless now. They watch like intruders at a ceremony they were never invited to. Then my phone buzzes. A notification from a food critic who had dismissed her years ago. They want to feature her in an article. My chest tightens with a mix of triumph and disbelief. The shift is happening. The power balance that was always so skewed is tilting, and soon, those who mocked her will feel the weight of recognition they never offered. I step back, my role changing. I'm no longer just avenger. I am protector, guide, guardian of her sudden, hard-earned spotlight. Every step, every gesture ensures she shines without interruption. I start filming, silently, carefully, every reaction, every smile, every spark of astonishment captured. This video will be her legacy, proof that scorn cannot survive talent properly recognized. The turning point is clear. The humiliation, the years of being overlooked, the quiet mockery, they will be rewritten. Today, public reverence begins, and I know, deep in my chest, nothing will ever be the same again. I time the reveal like a strike, not rushed, not hesitant. I post high-quality videos of her cooking, close-ups of her hands, the patience in her movements, the confidence in her technique. The flavors don't need exaggeration. The truth carries itself. Every frame highlights what they mocked and failed to see. The response explodes. Views surge faster than I expect. Comments flood in, not shallow praise, but real admiration. This is mastery. Why have I never heard of her? This woman knows food. I watch familiar names from my family's social circles pop up, liking posts, then unliking them, then pretending they never saw anything at all. I see the squirming in real time. Then Chef Harper posts. He doesn't hedge his words. He doesn't soften the praise. He calls her a hidden gem of American cuisine, and suddenly her name is attached to credibility they can't laugh away. His endorsement spreads like fire, jumping platforms, dragging the truth into the open. Food critics start reaching out, real ones, the kind who once ignored her. Interview requests stack up, feature proposals arrive. The same people who dismissed her effort now want her story. The cousins try to fight it. I hear the comments secondhand. It's just internet hype. People will forget. Their voices are thin, strained, drowned out by thousands of strangers celebrating her talent. Their mockery has no traction anymore. Praise is louder. I arrange a live cooking event. Aunty Martha stands in front of an audience, calm and steady, demonstrating her signature dishes. The room is silent except for the sounds of cooking, sizzling, chopping, simmering. People lean forward, captivated. This isn't novelty. This is authority. The family sits in the front row. I watch their faces as it happens, mouths slightly open, eyes fixed, no laughter, no jokes. Just disbelief as her brilliance unfolds in real time. They can't interrupt it. They can't talk over it. They have to watch. I catch the subtle shifts, the tight lips, the lowered gazes, the regret creeping into their expressions. They finally understand something too late. Mockery cannot coexist with truth. I release the edited video that night, from humiliation to triumph, from whispered insults to public reverence. The pacing is sharp, emotional, undeniable. It's built for virality, and it hits exactly where it should. Online media picks it up and amplifies everything. Headlines focus on the cruelty she endured, the talent hidden in plain sight, the justice that followed. The narrative is no longer theirs to control. Sponsors reach out. Book deals, cooking classes, television appearances. Opportunities multiply faster than we can process them. Each one is another door slammed shut on the past they tried to keep her in. What was once public mockery becomes private embarrassment. No apologies, no explanations, just a quiet reckoning they carry alone. Aunty Martha smiles differently now. Not polite, not defensive, genuine, confident, dignified, like someone who finally knows the world sees her clearly. Legal filings follow. Her recipes are trademarked, her legacy secured. What they once stole, dismissed, and laughed at is now protected in her name. Every step of this revenge is intentional, precise, controlled, and deeply, irrevocably satisfying. Our home feels different now. The air is lighter but charged. Mockery has faded, replaced by cautious respect. Even family members who once whispered and laughed move carefully around her, as if finally aware of the weight of their own cruelty. Aunty Martha gains local fame, invitations arriving quietly at first, then more publicly. She never brags. She continues teaching community cooking classes, sharing her knowledge with patience and grace, her humility untouched by recognition. I sit back and reflect on everything. The nights of humiliation, the laughter that once cut through our lives, and now the transformation of that personal pain into global recognition. Every step, every calculated move, every silent plan has led to this. Some family members reach out cautiously. Their apologies are tentative but sincere enough. They now see the cruelty they inflicted, the words they tossed so carelessly. I don't rush to forgive. I let the awareness settle into the space between us. There's a complex satisfaction in this. Justice has been served, yet I know the emotional scars remain, both hers and mine. Recognition cannot erase the past, but it can illuminate the truth. Social media continues to celebrate her. Posts, shares, and comments keep her story alive. a constant reminder that resilience can rise above scorn, that talent cannot be buried forever. I sit with her in the quiet of our kitchen for an interview. Cameras off. Just her wisdom, her warmth spilling into every word. I record it, preserving her story for posterity, capturing the essence of the woman who endured so much and yet never broke. Private victories follow, laughter shared over small experiments, flour on our hands, taste testing together. These moments, simple and intimate, solidify the bond between us. Our relationship grows stronger, rooted in respect, trust, and love. I realize the truth of revenge. It is not in cruelty returned, not in punishment inflicted. True revenge is elevation, lifting the wronged above the weight of mockery, allowing them to shine in ways the world cannot ignore. Chef Harper visits again, bringing collaboration opportunities, mentoring, and guidance. He cements her status in culinary circles, validating the genius that had been hidden for so long. The public narrative flips entirely. Those who once dismissed her must now acknowledge her mastery. She is no longer the overlooked, ridiculed Aunty. They see her as the master she has always been. I archive every piece of footage, every reaction, every turning point, from her quiet beginnings to this triumphant rise, preparing it all for YouTube storytelling, ensuring the world remembers. Finally, I watch her in the kitchen, pausing mid-stir. She looks at me, a quiet tear tracing her cheek. Recognition, triumph, and self-worth reflected in her eyes. For the first time, she truly acknowledges her own brilliance. And in that moment, the journey, the struggle, and the revenge all find their completion. I look straight into the camera, my voice low but steady, carrying the weight of every moment we endured. We faced ridicule, I begin, mockery that cut deeper than anyone knew. Yet through it all, there was quiet strength, an unshakable persistence that refused to be buried. I recount the cruelty we endured, the sharp laughs, the whispered dismissals, and the hidden pain that lingered in Auntie Martha's eyes. I let the camera linger on her hands, the way she moves with purpose, and the care that turns simple ingredients into masterpieces. This journey taught me something vital, I continue, voice steady with conviction. Never underestimate quiet talent. Never ignore the power of believing in someone you love, even when the world refuses to see their worth. Clips flash across the screen, her dishes plated perfectly, Chef Harper tasting and leaning forward in awe, the family frozen in silent astonishment. Each frame carries the story of transformation, from mockery to recognition, from invisibility to triumph. I emphasize the lesson for those watching. Honor the unsung heroes in your life, those quietly crafting brilliance without applause. Stand up for them. Protect them and watch as the ripple of justice and pride expands further than you ever imagined. The camera pans slowly across the kitchen, sunlight streaming through the window onto Auntie Martha's face. She smiles softly, serene, radiant in her own power, a life reclaimed from dismissal and doubt. I turn back to the lens. Have you ever witnessed hidden talent silenced by cruelty? I ask, inviting reflection, connection, engagement. Share your story below. Like, subscribe, and join us in celebrating those who triumph quietly, but profoundly. My final words linger, soft but resolute. Sometimes the sweetest revenge is the world finally seeing what they mocked. The screen fades to sunlight, to warmth, to the enduring triumph of talent recognized, leaving a lasting sense of justice, closure, and quiet exhilaration.